Broadcasting from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, to around the globe. You're listening to Shark Bite Biz, your exclusive place for business strategy, sales, marketing, and tech in the roaring 20s. And now, here's your host, David Strausser.
Welcome to Shark Bite Biz. I'm your glamorous host, David Strausser. This is your place to learn how to grow a business during global chaos. Another amazing episode slated for y'all today. Digital first world means digital first mindset. We'll talk about that more in a minute. First, remember, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can join the channel. Become a baby shark for only $3 a month, but giving money through big tech is not your thing. Don't worry, we got you covered. Head on over to deadhousecoffee.com. Use code SHARK. You're going to get 20% off of your order. All the proceeds directly support us building the biggest, best show you possibly can. And if you have not drank Dead House Coffee, I'm drinking it right here. If you have not drank it yet, it is amazing. The freshest coffee to your doorstep. You will love it. Deadhousecoffee.com. Use code SHARK. 20% off your order. Back to today's show, another marketing episode, and we're going to chat about creating some engaging websites. A website is a modern day business card. Business cards, I think, they are essentially obsolete. There is no real need for them. I mean, come on, who wants to be lugging around one of those books with, all the business cards in it, flipping through them? No, digital first for business cards. That's your website. A good website can make your business look like a Fortune 500 company instead of the 5-person shop you really are. So it's all about appearances. And the web is the one area that you can give the appearance that you are much bigger and better than what you actually are. You know, as we've said on this show many times, fake it till you make it. And if that's what you got to do to a degree, obviously I'm talking, but if you go out there and you give that appearance, keep working towards that, eventually that will be you. That will be who you are. It's helping you reach your long-term goal. So who is today's guest? Oh, so glad you asked. None other than Ray Van Hilst. Ray is an inventive soul, and his wit and charisma are present from the moment you meet him. Ray seamlessly blends 20 plus years of marketing experience with modern web principles to establish and advance the web presences of organizations that help build a better world. That's what it's all about, right? When Ray isn't in the office or the coffee shop, Dead House Coffee, or a client office or Wi-Fi hotspot, he is frequently found at speaking events about web strategy and marketing technology. So, hey, I'm going to shut up. Let's bring our buddy Ray on in here.
Reach your customer.
Ray, welcome to Shark Bite Biz. You, my friend, you just became Shark Bait.
Woo! Shark Bait, ooh-ha-ha.
Yeah, there you go, man. So we have a tradition on this show. Very first question. Who are you? Where have you been? Where are you going? What do you do? Tell us, what makes Ray? Ray.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me today. Excited to be here. My name is Ray Van Hilst. I'm Director of Client Results at Yoko CO. We are a digital marketing agency. We work exclusively with organizations and companies making a positive impact in the world. Or as we like to say, groups are motivated with a mission beyond profit. I'm really excited and passionate. So my background is as a marketer. Little known fact, I used to work for the circus.
The circus?
I literally used to work for Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey Circus.
Wow.
I was not a clown though. My wife would accuse me of being. My wife accuses me of being a clown, but I was not a clown. I worked in the marketing department.
Okay.
So
there's no more circus anymore, is there?
There is no. They shuttered it. It was kind of sad. So, but they produce Disney on Ice, monster trucks, and stuff like that.
Oh, wait. So they did the Disney on Ice and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I mean, are they all done too? I've taken my daughter, I think, to Disney on Ice.
No, so Disney on Ice is still up and running. So it's a company called Feld Entertainment.
No, we did Barbie on Ice.
So Feld is headquartered in Sarasota, Florida now. They used to be in the Northern Virginia area, but they produce Disney on Ice, and actually I worked with Disney. I was a brand manager for Disney.
Mm-hmm.
They do monster trucks, a bunch of other shows and stuff like that. But I worked in the marketing department there, and
Okay.
just loved that work because it was about telling the stories of the shows and those kinds of elements, and fell in love with
Yeah.
entertainment marketing. But from there, I went and worked in a regular marketing agency and worked on like power tool brands. I went for working on that kind of stuff, and
From
then
the circuits to the power tools, man.
power tools. Yeah, I worked on the launch of rigid power tools. I did nonprofits, bunch of stuff. But along the way, I fell in love with the internet, and I was like, how do I marry my brand management and marketing love with this technology thing?
Mm-hmm.
And throughout my career, then I started building websites and working with digital agencies. So what's unique about us in our companies, I'm not a technologist. I specifically do not learn the technology because I'm a marketer. I want to like help clients use the web as a marketing tool. So that's what I do. Yeah.
That's good. That's an awesome story. And I will say that it's better than, I think it was Tim Keen, who was another marketer on our show, where he got his marketing start by doing sex toys. So you are a step above that going into the circus.
Yep. There you go. And a little funny side story. We did a circus parade here in the DC area one time, and I actually had to walk behind the camels and shovel some of the shit that they dropped down on Pennsylvania Avenue. So I can say I've had to do a little bit of everything in my marketing career.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know how many people could say that they've shoveled camel dung on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah,
there you go. That's funny. So yeah, no, that's the great background that I always kind of find it interesting. I guess you can call it the origin story, how you got into what you're doing, because we're all, business-minded people and entrepreneurs out here. So I guess with you being on websites and, some of this digital stuff, one big thing that happened over this whole pandemic thingy that we're still kind of lingering in, I guess, is people realize, I should revamp my website.
Yep.
How do companies do that? How do they figure out what they should have on their website?
That's a great question. And I mean, as part of my job as a strategist is to work with clients and to figure that out. And I think one of the first things is to recognize is that when you look at your websites, there's a lot of things you could do, and there's a lot of people that start doing blue sky ideas and stuff like that. But you really want to sit down and do your homework to figure out what you should do of what's going to move the needle. My mantra and the way we approach things here. So I describe myself as being pathologically helpful. If someone calls and has a question, I'll be like, I can take 15, 20 minutes. Let's talk through this as you go through that. Do the same thing. Take the same approach with your website. So when you understand when someone's coming to your website, if you're a business owner and you're selling, products or services, whatever, when someone comes to the website, they don't want to know about like how long. Well, they will eventually want to know how long you've been in business and so on and so forth. But they're coming with a problem that they need to solve. Help them solve that problem.
Hold on. You just hit something there that I want to ask you, because it just occurred to me right now. How long have they been in business? I think that was an important question 20 years ago. I don't think that's as important today.
Is not. No, because so we talk about.
You know why? You know why I say?
Because upstarts come along. The old companies, like their service has gone downhill.
And you can validate. Okay, so 20 years ago, it was important. Like, we've been in business for 30 years, because you want to prove, like, hey, I'm not selling snake oil. We're a legit company. I'm a legit business. We're real. Today, I mean, there's still vaporware and snake oil out there, but the big difference is you can validate. Okay, well, David Strausser is the CEO of Dead Brands. Who is this fella? Oh, he writes for Forbes. He does a podcast. Okay, we'll do business with that. You can validate who the person is and the credibility right then and there. That's amazing. That just blew my mind now that we thought about that.
Well, and also think about that. That's not the first question that we have.
Mm-hmm.
The first question we have is, I have a problem. What's your solution to my problem?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, a good example, my 17-year-old son called me up and said, "Hey, the rear tail light is out of my car." And so how do I figure out, and it's a 2010 Honda CRV. I'm not taking that to the Honda dealer,
No.
What's the first thing you do? You go on YouTube, you Google replace tail light and Honda CRV, 2010 Honda CRV.
I would have just got a flashlight. Remote control flashlight.
Remote
Press
control
this
flashlight.
when you want to turn it.
When you're braking, put on the flashlight. So I end up on YouTube, which links me to Advanced Auto Parts, which links me to the light bulb I need. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I needed a Sylvania, blah, 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 blah. I started off with, how do I fix this light bulb? How do I fix this brake light? Now, if you're a business doing something, that next step might be, oh, you have this product. Tell me more about the product. Oh, tell me about your bona fides. Right. But that's that discussion that you need to have within your content. So I think, back to your original question, if you're a business owner, how do you figure out what that is? We do an exercise with our clients where we sit down and say, okay, let's figure out who your audiences are. What are they coming to you? What are their pain points? And we go through an exercise called a content needs matrix, where we literally say, take each of these audiences and write down every question that this person would have.
I'm thinking about this. I'm still stuck on how long you've been around, but with my business even too. I mean, we do ERP for my day job with Vision 33.
Mm-hmm.
And this, you can be from 50,000 to, $2 million with the project. And I think once you get past a certain point, I mean, it's really like, okay, they've done this before. That's really all they care about. How can they fix our problem using that experience?
Exactly. That they fix. Can they fix my problem? Do they get me? Do they know what my problems are? And then and I mean, particularly a $500,000 ERP implementation, they're going to call and check your references in the sales process.
Actually, you'll be surprised how many don't.
Really?
Yes. I would say most do not ask for references, and it's just because you have the reputation already out there as a 500-person strong organization backed by the major publishers being Sage, SAP, etc.
Okay.
And it's like, we're already validated. And I mean, really, I don't know if I would ever talk with a reference. If I was buying software, okay, I don't think there's any value with checking references. Because you guarantee 99% chance they're going to give you the reference that's going to give them the best review possible. What's the sense? I just want to hear someone independent say, oh, yeah, they rock. I know what they're going to say already. Maybe you catch them off guard or you dig a little bit deeper, whatever. But 99% chance they're just going to be telling you what they hear because they want to help their growth partner out.
Right.
The technology company who asked them to do the referral.
Yeah. One of the things I've seen to start, just to change a little bit as well, is doing unverified references. So like, for example, I've had, friends of mine be like, hey, I'm looking at this package or this vendor and I see that you're connected to so-and-so at this company. What do you think? What do you know? What should I know about working with them? Or I've had consultants that have been assisting clients and prospects of ours say, oh yeah, by the way, I spoke to so-and-so who told us XYZ about you, which was not a reference we gave them. They just went on LinkedIn and found the common connections.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, people are getting smarter too. This is, people are getting smarter. They know how to research things indirectly, and they're able to use the tools at their hands. And I guess that is true. We'll hear people going through a sales cycle like, well, I was talking to my buddy, and this is what he told me about SAP. Or this is what he told me about Vision 33, and then it's like, oh, snaps. Well, actually, let me get you a reference that'll rebut all of that for you.
But bringing it back to our conversation, when you think about your website, though, so what should I have on my website? all that information that they were trying to find out about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of information to have. Like if it's ERP software, what problems do you solve? How do you help me streamline? What tips do you have? Thinking through those questions like that. And really, in a good website should do half of the sales work for you.
Yeah.
The website is your salesperson that never sleeps.
Oh yeah.
And doesn't
definitely
ask for time
100%.
off. So
Does not.
Looking at mapping the information that your audiences need. How can you just be pathologically helpful to them?
And that's so true. So when I have not a 17-year-old now, but an 18-year-old that just graduated, who is the producer of this video, Francisco. He's listening to us talk about him right now, probably shaking his head. But he, when he was born, I did live in Pennsylvania for one small stint in rural Pennsylvania. That's where my family's from. The rest of it, I was living down in Tijuana, Mexico, and Lima, Peru. But for that, 2-ish years, because I was really young and I was scared. So we had him born in Pennsylvania, and I worked for my father who had a small roofing company. And I just got tired of working for the one telemarketing position, and I was working for good people, but I was just over it. I was over office politics and drama. I think that's why I like working from home and working on my own, because those things just drive me nuts. It's like, really, are you people so petty? I just don't want to deal with that. And I just rather remove myself from that situation. And that's where, look at my dad. I didn't really understand business to a deep degree at that point, but it's like, you got a business, you've been around for 30 years. Why aren't we doing more? It's like, where's your website? And we had Steve, I forget if it's Steve Glaze or Steven Glazer from a siding company on here. I was talking with him, telling him some of the stuff that we did on this podcast episode. And, like we got paroofer.com. And this is back in rural Pennsylvania in 2004, let's say. We got paroofer.com, gotsiding.com, for example. And what we did on the website, and nobody was doing that in rural Pennsylvania and home improvements in that time. Like, we'd have guides like, hey, this is how you replace your roof. This is why you need to buy an Owens Corning roofing system from a certified contractor like Strausser Contracting. And we would do all of this stuff. Now, my dad didn't understand that. He didn't understand you're spending so much money. I'm like, okay, well, we get 1 or 2 leads a month, and you get him in rural Pennsylvania for brand new roofs, 1 or 2 a month. Look at the population. That's not that bad. And it more than paid for itself. And I remember the one time at that point in my life, the largest sale I did was like a $25,000 roof that came from that website, and it actually ended up being, I think, in the Pennsylvania Poconos. But it was like, wow, that totally validated everything that I was building up. But it was doing exactly what you're saying here, which is, explaining them, giving them the details that they're looking for their problem, so that they can have that deeper understanding.
Exactly. And I think the other thing you have to understand when you're thinking about answering those problems is that the person may not even know that your solution is what they need. Okay, so
right.
I use because I was just walking a client through this morning, so I'll reuse this example. One of our clients is the EMDR International Association.
Okay.
So EMDR is a type of therapy that's based on the science of REM sleep and how your brain processes. And EMDR is very effective in the treatment of trauma and PTSD, sexual assault, and stuff like that. So the most people that need that type of therapy, they don't know that EMDR exists. So your first question is, and I have a friend of mine who's a therapist that works with a lot of first responders. And so the question is, how do first responders get therapy for traumatic incidents, for dealing with trauma? Because first responders see horrible stuff, or PTSD. So therapy for PTSD is the first thing. And then there's a thing, so you'll come up with all different information, but then along in there is, EMDR is a very effective therapy treatment for PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
So our first question was, I didn't even know that EMDR existed. My first question was, how do I get therapy and help for this traumatic incident I've dealt with? Oh, there's this thing called EMDR. Oh, what is it? Can I just go to a regular therapist for it? No, you actually, it requires additional training. I need a certified therapist, and you convert to a therapist. So we call that a conversation spectrum, from oblivious, curious, intrigued, invested, and converted. So that's a good way to think about it for business owners. Like, you may be selling widgets, but your audiences, your customers that are solving problems, they don't even know that your widget is necessary. Right. They might just be trying to take care of, a damp basement or some other, or a software issue or something like that.
Yeah, and that's so true what you're saying, because I hate when I'm trying to go out and buy something and I feel like it's being piecemealed. Like, it's not explaining to me, oh, but you're going to need this and you're going to need this and you're going to have to do that. I mean, it's like you ever get buy something from, a store like Amazon, and it's like one of the things that they just shipped over for China, and you're trying to read the instructions and it's like these things are missing, or they're showing parts that obviously you don't even have.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like IKEA, everybody makes fun of them. And if, because it's, a pure method to be able to get divorced. But with them, at least when you open up their boxes and you look at those instruction manuals, I think IKEA stuff's put together really well. And it's a lot simpler to follow, I think, than some of those other off-brand products. And I kind of look at that comparison.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So what about, okay, so we're talking about the content inside of the actual website.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about the home page? What should people see on that main landing page?
So we're going to start with my controversial and biggest belief.
Oh, is this a hot take?
This is a hot take.
Let's do it.
The homepage is the least important page of your website.
Can I give my hypothesis as to why?
Sure.
Because very few people are actually going to land on the homepage. They're going to be searching it through SEO or other pages, and that's the link that they're actually going to land on.
Exactly. The most important page of your website is every other page. And I think the problem I have is people were like, we must make a perfect homepage, and then they don't give two craps about the rest of the site. I'm like, you need to go through the rest of
15 years ago, 20 years ago, the homepage, AOL keywords, for example, the homepage, it's all about that. But times have changed, systems have evolved. You're able to have custom landing pages for a billion keywords, right?
Right.
You have SEO generated keyword pages right now. And if you're able to do that, I mean, it just makes total sense.
So what the homepage needs to do then is, most of the time the homepage will be page 2 or 3 that someone views. Mm-hmm. Or if someone is looking at the homepage directly, it's because they already heard of who you are and they've looked you up by name. So that's the whole concept of branded search. So what the homepage at that point needs to do is reinforce your value proposition and your message of why it is you're unique, what big problem you're solving, and I think the thing that a lot of people will want to put is on the homepage is like back to the point of, we've been in business 30 years. No, that's still about you. Like, it's we help you do XYZ. We solve this problem. We make you look at whatever that is you're doing for your customer. Like, that needs to be the key message.
Well, I think the 30 years, depending what you're doing, could still be a value because you're solving problems. So again, looking at my ERP business, okay, we've been around for, let's just say 20 years with SAP Business One, our main product line. Okay, we've been doing that for 20 years. Now that's very valid because it's like, hey, we've done thousands of implementations, and basically you're getting the benefits of all the people that had their projects blow up on them. You're getting the list of things not to do during an implementation that's very well defined. So I think it's all about positioning and framing that. But if I just put, hey, we've been around for 20 years or 30 years or whatever it is, that by itself is not important. And I think that's what people do. If you frame it correctly to use it as your advantage, like I was saying, I think that's the big difference.
Exactly. And then, the rest of the content on your homepage is think about that user journey of what are the questions that your buyer, your prospect is having as they're going through that. What are they looking for? What do you want them to do?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want them to sign up for your newsletter? Do you want them to sign up for a demo? If you're a services business, by the time they get to your homepage of your services, a call to action, a phone number, or something like that.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so how much should I spend on the website? I mean, money.
Money. So that's going to vary by complexity, size, so on and so forth, right? So it's kind of like the question of how much does a house cost, and are you buying a mobile home, a double wide, or a McMansion, or a custom build, right? So,
I'm an ERP. I definitely feel you. I understand you, and what we do is, but I think with what I do, ERP. I think it's more understood that if you're going for SAP, that's a tier 1 solution. It's going to cost you, but even if you go for the small biz entry level, that's going to cost you a lot more money than QuickBooks. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Now, websites, though, on the other hand, I think for whatever reason, people do not like paying graphic designers, video producers, website design. They are undervalued. And in a way, it's good because it helps us get cheap goods. But it's something that it does create a problem, because then if you say, hey, look, it's going to be 25 grand for the website or 50 grand, they're like, well, smoking crack, they
the reality is, so, web design really is, so the software itself, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You could use, if you're a really small business, like I have a friend of mine, she's started a goat farm and she's selling goat's milk, and she wanted to have our company build her a site. I was like, you can't force us. I was like, use Weebly, and she's got a beautiful site on Weebly. If you're a restaurant or a smaller business like that.
So Weebly, I started with Weebly. That was my davidstrausser.com first site was on Weebly. And the reason is I am a Penn State graduate, and Weebly was actually developed by Penn Staters, I believe, when they were at the university. So we got special stuff back then.
I think for small businesses, I love Weebly and Squarespace.
Now I moved up to Wix.
You moved up to Wix. Okay.
For my personal portfolio, because I found it more capable than Weebly, and it's nicer. I get more functionality. I can do more stuff than Weebly. Now, compared to Squarespace, I don't know. I know I hear about it on Joe Rogan all the time, but
they're advertising a lot. I think one of the things I like about Weebly is that they're now owned by Square. So there's a tight integration between Weebly and Square.
Okay. Previously, I used them pre-Square, and the templates, I mean, they were dated and stuff like that. And it served a purpose for a while, but eventually it's like, hey, I need something more modern. Weebly doesn't have it, so I moved to Wix.
Right. And MailChimp has come into the mix now too. So wow. Really good stuff. Yeah.
So for small businesses, though, the point is that if you're an individual, like say you're an insurance agent, whatever, you can use those sites to get
use those sites
really low cost.
And what you need, though, is you need to find someone who has the skills to know how to do it and has the marketing know-how to do that. Just because you go to the store and just go to Whole Foods and buy all the ingredients doesn't make you a chef. You need to get you need to find a
because you still need the content itself. So for example, everybody out there, go to sharkbytebiz.com, davidstrausser.com. Beautiful sites. You'll see me with my guitar. But on there, I mean, I still gotta get Shark Bite Biz up with SEO and stuff like that. But David Strausser is primarily done. Again, not the greatest site in the world, but it does serve the purpose of what I need it for. I am
Yeah.
about to revamp them all and give them brand new designs because I just have too much going. I like to have a little catalog, like every interview I've done, but
Hmm.
not like on the podcast. I'm talking like, for example, today I had an article comes out on Forbes and stuff like that. So I like to catalog all that stuff so that people can see who I am, my expert abilities and stuff. But it's getting a little bit too cluttered in that area. So I'm about to redesign it. But to each their own. I mean, I have my resume up there, my infographic, everything, because a lot of people like they may fear, oh, you're looking for a new job. No, I have my resume up there so that the clients know exactly who I am, what my experience are,
Exactly.
so that they know who they're handing that $1 million check to.
Yep. Yep.
That's the design of my goal. So sorry,
So,
continue.
within that realm, I think you're looking in the $5,000 to $10,000 range. As your business moves up in complexity, you might be
Hmm.
moving into like a WordPress designed site, bringing in a WordPress designer. Maybe you have different types of content, you want more gating, or if you're using like we're also a HubSpot partner, so we build out sites on
Hmm.
the HubSpot CMS, so on and so forth. That point, you're starting at 25K and going up to 100K, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a matter of what you're paying for at that point. And part of what I do is I joke that I'm a marketing therapist. We come in, we like look at your business, where are things, what's going on, what are your pain points. So we have to design your web strategy that's coming
Hmm.
into that. How complex do you need your design to be? How high touch do you want your design and your interaction to be? How many pages do you have to deploy in the site? That's where it goes. And
Right.
then from there on up, I mean, we do sites up to $200,000, and then
Oh
you can
yeah.
go beyond that if you start using like a commercial CMS like Sitecore, Episerver, Sitefinity. You're starting at 100K and going up.
So I had a stint for maybe about a year or so. It was one of when I was an independent contractor, and I'm not going to name the company, but they were one of my clients that I held a biz dev contract for about a year, and that was my first time being exposed to tech in the term. I mean, well, to high end websites like that. Before
Hmm.
then, I would think website 2,000, 5,000, maybe 10,000 at most. But I mean, we were selling sites like Botox where you're talking 300,000. And it's like, hold on a second. This is like a 3-page website. How is it 200,000? I mean, it's insane, some of these prices and stuff. But I mean, to each their own, how they had to have it built. They wanted it on a custom back
How they
end
want to build,
system
do
and
you want on
stuff.
customer thing? How high end does for the design? Like, they
Hmm.
might have done custom photography, custom video,
Hmm.
right? All of that's
Yep.
going into it. Custom, your copywriting.
Yeah.
Like we have a copywriter that we bring in for projects, and he's 10K just to start on the project. He's that good at strategic messaging, but just to have them work on your project, that's the basement of where we're going to engage them. So who's writing the and people think about the design part and the technology, but ultimately it's the content, the words, the photos, and everything goes on the
Mhm.
page. That's what's going to start jacking that price up and up.
Yeah. So we do got to get wrapping up. I have two final questions I just want to ask here. We'll answer these quicker.
Yeah.
If you're going out there, you're trying to get a website designed, built. How do you know if the web designer dude or dudette that you're hiring or the web designer firm, how do you know if they're any good?
Ask about their results that they
Hmm.
get for their clients. If they're just showing you a portfolio of designs that look pretty and they're not talking about the results they got for their clients, that's one key thing. But also in your discussions, do you feel like they get you? Do they understand your business, and are they taking the time to learn you as a business or you as an organization and offer up solutions towards that? We
Hmm.
can get designers and developers all over the place, but is that strategy that's going to come to bear, and that strategy that's going to carry through to make it a powerful project, a successful project?
Right, right. So, I mean, the other thing is this is a question that I get all the time with ERP. And they always ask me, like, how long does it take to deploy the system? Now, if you ask one of my sales guys, they'll tell you 2 weeks. In real life, in real life, we're probably looking, I mean, you could do 3-4 months if it's what we call rapid implementation, like a small company that's just very vanilla because they don't have much, they're maybe doing Shopify or Amazon and that's about it.
Hmm.
But if you get into a real legit, 10 million a year, 20 million a year revenue company, I mean, you're probably looking 6, 9, 12 months, depending what they do and how complex the project is. So
Hmm.
what kind of variance do you see for a good website that can accomplish your goals of, I would say the goal of almost any website is sales. Now, what that sale is, I mean, it could be because you're informing people.
Hmm.
It could be because you're selling directly to them. You're telling them where to buy, whatever it is. The direct, indirect goal is going to be sales for 99% of the websites out there, I think, for most businesses. How long do you think it takes to build something like that that's going to work?
On average, 7 to 9 months.
7 to 9 months.
From kickoff to launch, 7 to 9 months.
Why so long?
Some go faster. Some go
Yep.
faster. The fastest one I've done was 12 weeks, right? So which is
Mhm.
3 months. Some go longer.
See what I do there.
I've
Just
had
see
to
what
go
I do.
2 years.
Instead of 12 weeks, it's just 3 months.
Just
Why?
3 months.
Because three is a much smaller number than 12.
Yeah. So why so long? The complexity in getting all your requirements up front and getting your meetings, get
Yep.
your stakeholders involved. So if you're a marketing director in a company, you need to schedule meetings with like your products, your salespeople, make sure you get their buy-in. So scheduling those, getting your strategy together, getting your design approved. Like we tell clients to be like, well, this is a rush project. And I was like, I'm not quoting you a launch date until you approve the design. Because we can go round and round and round in the design, because design ultimately becomes subjective. But
Yep.
once we do that, and then ultimately it's how much content do you have? So
Right.
are you deploying 5 pages or 5,000?
Mhm.
So those are the complexities that are going to end up end up as a
I think, yeah.
factor.
So hey, this has been amazing. This has been a very fun interview. Did you have fun?
I had a great time. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, no problem. No problem. Let me ask you something, Ray. How can people digitally stalk you?
Oh, that's a great question. So the good news is I have one of the most search engine optimized names in the entire world, because there is only one Ray Van Hilst. So if you Google me, you will find me. I ran into a friend of mine from high school. He's like, dude, I always wonder what happened to you. I was like, bullshit. And he's like, come on, what happened? I was like, you clearly do not know how to use Google, because I am so easy to find. So if you Google me, you'll find me. But my email address is ray@yokoco.com. So that's YOKOCO.com. And our website is www.yokoco.com. And easy to find there. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter, but I don't do any tweeting at this point. So,
Oh, you should. Twitter's such a fun place.
yeah,
So warming and receptive
inviting
to all
and
strangers.
everyone comes all in. It's a big kumbaya fest. Yeah.
Yeah. One big. It's like Woodstock all over again. So, hey, Ronnie, thank you so much for coming on here, man. You gave us a lot of good stuff, a lot of really good stuff to think about as far as website design and that type of marketing. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yep. Cheers. Wow. That was an awesome chat with Ray, right? First, you all know the routine. If you found this interview helpful, if it sparked those warm and fuzzies, do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. But if you really want to help us out, please share this out to your network. Get it out there to everybody on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Get it out wherever you can. Shark Bite Biz is the best kept secret out there in the world of small business. Help us grow. We can only grow if you share this as well. I would love nothing more than to see Ray and Shark Bite Biz out there trending. Now let's get back talking about our rock star guest, Ray, okay? Because he had some really awesome points. From the circus world to a world-class website marketing guru. I mean, seriously, what a career journey. What a story. I love it. Yes, we did have some opportunities, I guess you could say, for some political jokes at the expense of him having to clean up dung on Pennsylvania Avenue, but we'll let those go for another day. Now, the first thing that I really want to bring up from him is he said this really well. It was the first question we all have as consumers. And he said, I believe this is quoted perfectly. I have a problem. What is the solution to my problem you offer? Okay. And that is a very clear, precise message that Ray gave us. I mean, look, we all know that's why customers come to us. But I think Ray's exact quote, like he said it during the interview, was perfect and precise. It was to the point, and you really need to be answering that question when you're building your website. That is what you need to build your website, in that frame of mind, in that tone of answering that customer asking you that question. And, it really is exactly what customers are wanting to know when they go to your website. Another fascinating area of the interview for me is where Ray tells us essentially to forget the homepage. Okay, I don't think he said that exactly, but very few customers are going to go to your main website.com on the very first visit. They're more than likely going to come to one of your various different landing pages out there that you have. And that's a place where you can essentially wine and dine them digitally, where you're able to educate them and wow them. So you need to make sure that you do have a pretty front door, but you also have to make sure that once you invite guests in, that you don't have stains or rips on your carpet and couches or a broken TV. So take a step back, analyze your SEO-based pages, and make sure that they're all up to par. So regardless of what angle the customer is finding you at, they're finding, now this goes back to our interview with Deborah Driggs. If you remember, she said something that really blew my mind. I think it was episode 94, if I remember correctly. And she said, what's the best version of you? And that's where I think you need to make sure these site pages, these SEO pages, that those pages are the best version of you for that customer. Question of the day. How often do you redo your company's website? Is this something that is every year? Is it twice a year? Is it, I don't know, once every 5 years? I'd love to hear the story because I think it's going to be such varying answers, depending what industry you're in and stuff. It'd be great to hear what you all have to say. Leave a comment down below on YouTube. Do you want to be on the show? If so, shoot me an email, interviews@sharkbitebiz.com. Please remember, join the channel. $3 a month. You could become a baby shark. Support this place. Help us grow. Or if big tech's not your thing, no worry. Go to deadhousecoffee.com. You're going to get the freshest coffee available delivered to your doorstep. And when you use code SHARK, you're going to save 20% off of that order, and all those proceeds directly help support make this show the biggest and best we possibly can. Hey, once again, you guys all know this by now. I'm David Strausser. This is Shark Bite Biz. We'll see you all next episode. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Shark Bite Biz. We hope you got some insightful info from this podcast. Be sure to subscribe to us through your favorite podcast app and visit us on the web at www.sharkbitebiz.com. How has business changed for you in the 20s? Email us at podcast@sharkbitebiz.com so you can join us and share your story.